Welcome back to Brojo Online. Today we're going to have a look at how nice guys sabotage their relationships, particularly their romantic relationships. So it looks like they're trying their best to find a partner, and yet it never really seems to work out. So if you're the kind of guy who's actively actually trying to find a partner, maybe you're even investing money into it, like matchmaking services, dating apps, dating coaches, workshops and boot camps, it really does feel like you're trying your best. You really don't think that you're getting in your own way, but the results speak for themselves. You're not getting into a long-term relationship. You can get things off the ground, but they don't seem to go anywhere. It feels like you've got bad luck or that you're cursed in some way. You're worried that maybe there's something fundamentally wrong with you that makes you unattractive or impossible to have a relationship with. You're who I'm talking to today. We're going to have a look at how you actually secretly sabotage easy opportunities to get into a relationship because at a subconscious level, you're actually trying to stay single. So if this feels like it might possibly be true for you, or you get quite defensive at the idea that you self-sabotage, then keep listening. We're going to go through 20 odd ideas about how nice guys sabotage their chances and what you can do differently to make sure a relationship actually works out with a healthy, high-quality woman. Now, to get started, this was me. Make no mistake about it. I was this guy. I was trying my very best, or at least it felt like I was. And I was investing in it. I used to be into the whole pickup artist thing. I read all the books. I took boot camps and workshops. I hired coaches. I did everything I could possibly do to try and improve my dating game. And even though some of those methods were pretty dubious and sketchy and fake, I was still trying my best. It seemed pretty reasonable to expect that at least something should happen. But I could not get a relationship to last more than 3 weeks. And this was after years of not even being able to start a relationship whatsoever. It seemed like once things got going, I somehow screwed it up and somehow lost their interest and their attraction. The only way I could explain it to myself was that I was really unlucky, that I was cursed in some way, and or I had some trait that was just off-putting to women and there was nothing I could do about it. The idea that I was actively sabotaging this, that I was making sure I stayed single and preventing any form of intimacy from happening, that just didn't occur to me for a long time. But then once it did, everything suddenly made sense. Because the human population has doubled in my lifetime. We are clearly not that fussy about getting together in partnerships long enough to have children. So it doesn't make sense that you could be some uniquely repulsive person that nobody really wants to be with. That's very unlikely. There are some cases of people who are so socially out of tune that they put everyone off. But for the most part, if you're struggling to get into a relationship even though you're trying your best, the most likely explanation is that you are shutting yourself down somehow and you're not seeing how you're doing it, so you're blind to it, which means it feels like you're actually trying your best. So I need you to open your mind as we go through these examples to the possibility that you can have dual motives, that your conscious mind can think that you're pursuing a relationship while your subconscious mind prevents you from getting into one. Because I'll tell you, once I discovered these sabotage problems in myself, within a year I'd met my wife, and we've been together 10 years now. We have a daughter. All those things I thought were impossible and were never going to happen for me happened very quickly once I got out of my own way. But it was very hard to see that I was in my own way, and in this episode, I hope to help you guys see it for yourselves. There may be some difficult truths here. I'm going to race through them quite quickly because this is just an awareness episode. I'm not going to go too deep on any of these. I'm just going to point them out, and if you're doing them, you'll recognize it straight away, and that'll help answer why girls aren't texting you back, or they're losing interest after a few weeks, or you keep ending up with disastrous partners where there's no healthy future possible, or you're just not getting out there and you're spending all your time alone. This will help you understand why that's happening and what you need to do differently. I'm going to share a big list of all the possible ways that you sabotage yourself. Keep in mind some of these kind of overlap. They almost sound like I'm saying the same thing twice. And that's because I'm just approaching it from different angles because it applies differently to each person. And it might not resonate one way, but it does another way. They can be kind of categorized into two subcategories: anxious, avoidant attachment styles. So you're either pushing away or clingy or going in between the two. Either way, you're preventing a secure connection from happening. So as you go through these, start to identify, are you more of an avoidant person that tries to prevent someone getting too close? Or you're more of an anxious person that gets a bit too needy and puts people off that way? And then you'll see how it is you sabotage the possibility of a secure connection. Number one, we're going to start with the most obvious and probably the most prevalent, people pleasing. Trying to make them happy. So people pleasing is a fixation on their emotional state, trying to keep it in a narrow band of pleasurable emotions that you hope that they'll associate with you. So you think, if I keep them happy, they'll think I keep them happy. They'll associate happiness with me. So it comes from a belief system that if they're happy around me all the time, they're going to want to stay with me. That a good relationship is based on feeling good all the time. This is a devastatingly incorrect belief. The reason this doesn't work is because love and attraction are based on going through the entire range of emotional experiences. It's not just about having one monotone, pleasurable state at all times. If you observe any of the long-term relationships you're aware of, for the most part, if they're healthy relationships, you'll see that they go through a range of emotions. They're not always happy with each other. They have anger, they have sadness, they have confusion, they have boredom, they have the whole range. Those aren't failures. That's part of it. That's how it's supposed to look. So if you're trying to keep your partner happy all the time, the only thing you're guaranteeing is that eventually they're going to get bored of you and they're going to move on to somebody who's more exhilarating. They can get people-pleasing from anyone, right? There are millions and millions of guys willing to do people-pleasing out there. You're not special if you're a people-pleaser. There's no reason to pick you over anybody else. And so as soon as you start people-pleasing, you start putting them in a position when they start to think, could I get more from somebody else? So if you want to get over people-pleasing, the simplest answer is honesty. People-pleasing always requires some sort of dishonesty. So maybe you hide the way you truly feel, you don't ask for what you really want, you pretend to agree when you disagree. Stop doing all of that. Let them get upset, let them be bored with you, let them hear the story that they don't really want to hear, let them have the full range of emotions with you. It'll feel like you're breaking all the rules, but actually this is what's needed for them to feel like they have a unique connection with you. It's unique connections, depth of connection that creates loyalty and love, not monotone happiness. And if you feel resistant to this idea, just ask yourself, has keeping someone happy all the time actually worked for me? If not, maybe you're wrong. I know I was. Number two, a very similar related topic, being too easygoing, a lack of boundaries and assertiveness. So being too easygoing means that there really is no character to you because you just go with the flow at all times. You probably feel that this makes you a good person, that you're comfortable to be around and pleasant to be around, and therefore somebody would want you as a partner. You completely lack any real resistance and you avoid all conflict. You completely lack any resistance and you avoid most, or if not all, conflict. You're overly apologetic, you back down when you get resistance or you get a bad reaction. So there's no real sense of solidity to you. It's like, who is this guy? What does he really stand for? What does he really want? I don't know, because he changes depending on anyone's mood. So the belief is that a relationship is built on total harmony, of total agreement at all times. And that is a disastrously, dangerously false belief. You need to have tension. You don't need to have massive conflicts where you yell at each other and abuse each other. That's not what we're going for here. It's not that black and white. But there needs to be disagreement. There needs to be a hard edge to you where we know where you stand. We know what you're for and what you're against. Because if she doesn't know what you're against, she can't trust what you're for. If you say, yeah, I want to come with you to this thing, she doesn't know if you mean it or not because she knows you say that about anything. Whereas if you say, look, I'll come with you to that thing, but I'm definitely not going to that thing because that sucks. She actually prefers that. She knows where she stands with you now. She doesn't need you to agree with everything. You might get a positive reaction in the short term when you agree with everything, but in the long term, they're going to leave you. Why would they leave you? Because you have no spine. There's no masculinity. You spoil them, which means they get entitled and they can't appreciate anything anymore. They can't trust you. There's no character. There's nothing to love or respect. You're just this Play-Doh that can be molded into any shape. People don't actually want this. They want a real person, even if that real person disagrees with them. So how do you break out of this? It's just more honesty, but specifically honesty about your preferences. Be very straight up about what you want, don't want, like, and dislike. You're not allowed to lie about any of that. You're not allowed to say, I don't care either way, I'm fine with whatever, I'm on the fence. No. Pick a side, stick with it. Even if you only feel a slight preference towards something, go all in on that thing. Let them have disagreements with you. Sometimes you'll do things apart because you don't want to do the same thing. That's good. It's healthy for the relationship. Next one, an inability to express desire or sexual attraction. This was a big one for me. So it's never expressing interest in a personal way. You might say, oh, that's a nice dress, or, I had a great time with you. But you're not saying, like, I feel this way about you. You've affected me emotionally, especially when it comes to romantic and sexual feelings. The reason for this is because you believe that it's important to never spark off that kind of tension. Maybe you're raised with a fear of the kind of #MeToo reaction that you think any kind of show of interest is a sexual assault of some kind. And so you play it safe by not going anywhere near that territory. This is a huge problem because you're never going to spark sexual tension. You're never going to confirm your interest in them. They're going to wonder whether you like them or not. They're going to start getting anxious about their own insecurities, about their body and how attractive they are. And they're going to friend zone you. They're going to feel that you don't initiate. They're going to feel like they have to be the man in the relationship. And that's not going to work out well for you if they're a feminine person. So make sure you get it out early and often. If you feel interest or attraction towards them, tell them. In fact, it's probably the first thing you notice about them, so it should be one of the first things you tell them. Don't leave it for months. Tell them in the first 30 seconds. And whenever you notice something interesting about them, you like the way they smell, you can't take your eyes off their bum, whatever, tell them. All right? Yes, you'll have to calibrate to social appropriateness, but you're better off taking the risk and then sort of backing down if you cross the line than never risking it at all. If you want an actual sexual relationship, you're going to have to take a risk. Start small and then keep going. Next one, defensiveness. Defensiveness is ultimately off-putting, and being non-defensive is one of the most attractive traits. Defensiveness is basically you trying to convince them of anything. You trying to change their mind, control what they think, how they see the world, and in particular about you. So when you're trying to convince them that you're a certain person, that they should see you in a certain way, and that they should feel a certain thing about you, that's defensiveness. And it comes from the belief that we're not allowed to let people think bad things about us. We're not allowed to let people be wrong about us, that that's somehow a huge threat, that we have to kind of protect their view of us and make sure it's always a positive one. And we're sensitive. We're sensitive about our imperfections. We're grandiose. We have a big ego. We just can't let people even recognize the truthfully faulty things about us. The problem with this is that it's highly repulsive. And when it's not repulsive, it's piteous. One thing you never want the woman to do is to feel like she's your mother. If she feels pity for you, she's already going down the path of motherhood, right? So you know how you feel when you're watching someone else get defensive and like, no, I'm not like that at all. And that vibe you get, that sort of feeling sorry for them and just how obvious and how weak it looks. Yeah, that's not a vibe you want to be kicking off. It shows that you're really insecure, whereas being non-defensive shows that you're really secure. If you're defensive and you're like, that's not true, it just shows that you're worried that it is. Whereas a non-defensive person's like, believe whatever you want. That's very attractive. So it also shows that you're judgmental, right? That you care a lot about judging other people and being judged yourself. And that's going to plant a little seed of doubt in their mind, like, is he judging me as well? So there's a lot of work to be done on being defensive. It comes from deep insecurities. I can't do a whole thing on it right here and now. But generally, roll with it. Now, this doesn't mean self-deprecating humor. It doesn't mean accepting bad views about yourself or tolerating bullying. What it means is just a kind of like, okay, believe whatever you want kind of approach, right? Like, if you want to think that, fine. You think whatever you want to think. Someone accuses you of something, be like, if you believe that's true, then I guess it is. Just let them believe whatever they want about you. Don't try to prove anything. Don't try to disprove anything. And only hang out with people who are willing to get to know you properly. Even if you're dating someone and she's like, oh my God, I can tell you're such a blah, 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 and you know that that's wrong, just go, oh, well, if you ever want to find out who I really am, let me know. And then just move on. rather than trying to explain it to her. Make them come to you curiously with an open heart rather than trying to open it up yourself. Next one, walking on eggshells. This is where you tiptoe around them, trying not to set off any bad moods. Like I said earlier, this overlaps with a lot of ones I've already said, but I like to sort of specify this one. This is about being very careful and overthinking so that you never upset them. It's often combined with people pleasing and fawning and being easygoing. It comes from the belief that you upset them even a little bit, there'll be a breakup. That upsetting them means that you are a harmful person, you're a bad person, and a good person would never upset them. It's a fear of confrontation and an avoidance of hassle. You'll often tell yourself, like, this isn't worth it. It better not, set her off. It'd be easier if I just went along. It's this kind of thing where it's like, let's not crunch any of these eggshells or otherwise there'll be some huge disaster. The problem with this is you're just going to lose any of their respect. It'll drain away slowly. You can walk on eggshells for years before it becomes a massive problem, but it was actually a big problem from the beginning, just took a while. A woman cannot believe that you are intimidated by her. So one of the things I've sort of figured out this last year or so, one of the most off-putting things a man can do with a woman is show that he's afraid of the woman because she doesn't think she's scary. So if you're afraid of her, she's going to think he is a coward because there's nothing to be scared of. I'm just a little girl here. What's he scared of? If he's scared of me, imagine what's he going to do about the real world? What is he going to do about, like, a predator guy? What's he going to do about the actual threats out there if he thinks I'm a threat? Now, she can't have empathy for the idea that she's scaring the shit out of you. And it's a fair point. Like, unless she is actually going to do terrible things to you that can be measured, odds are you're just scared of her having an emotional reaction and losing her love, which isn't actually a physical threat. So they'll resent you for being a pushover, and they'll get exhausted of trying to reassure you all the time and they're going to feel that they're being carefully managed, and they're going to feel like they have to manage you so that you don't worry about the eggshells. They have to keep, like, making it okay for you, and then they become your mother. And by that point, you've lost all sexual attraction. So the key here is to live like it doesn't matter how it affects them. And I don't mean being callous. What I mean is do whatever it is you want to do, and if that gets a bad reaction from them, then you can talk to them about it. But actually go ahead and get that bad reaction. Don't try to prevent it from happening. Just live by your values, live with integrity, and occasionally they will react in a certain way to that you find uncomfortable. That doesn't mean that they're actually throwing plates at you or keying your car or killing your cat, right? They're not doing objectively harmful things. They're just upset. And once you realize that them being upset is not actually a problem you have to solve, that if you're in the right, if you're okay with what you did, then they can just be upset about it, and that's their problem that they have to solve, you'll realize you never had to walk on eggshells. Next one, keeping everything superficial. This is a very subtle one that you might not notice yourself doing, but it's devastating to the connection. And that is when you refuse to let conversations get deep or serious or emotional. You're not letting them see your true self, and you're not letting them reveal their true selves. You're kind of steering the conversation into safe topics all the time. Again, it comes from that belief that, like, emotional range is bad, that you got to keep everything light and pleasant all the time, and that's what somebody wants to be in a relationship with. I promise you, it is not what they want. Okay, it's what you want. It's not what they want. You're boring. There's nothing of substance to you. There's no reason to pick you over any other guy. They can get superficial from any stranger down at the cafe. There's no reason to want to stay with you. There's nothing attractive about what you're doing. There's nothing to connect with. And now they're under pressure to wear a mask and stay superficial too, which they hate. They want a partner they can open up to, not one they have to pretend with. All right, but if you keep pretending, they're forced to as well because you're not safe to open up to. So you should always share to the point of being nervous, right? You should show them the real stuff, your full range. Don't dump on them like they're your therapist. Make sure they open up reciprocally, okay? So they should be sharing the same amount as you. You must, in fact, insist upon it. If they don't do it, you say, okay, I'm not going to share more until you do. But get deep, get serious. You don't have to have a laugh all the time. Having a laugh's great, but it should be 10% of your time together, not 90%. Next one, switching back into being a nice guy after setting the precedent of being a masculine guy or a confident guy. So this is, a lot of guys will do this where they're actually quite confident and genuine in the build-up stages and the early dating stages, when they don't feel like they've got something to lose, where they don't really have a huge investment in this working out. But once it's locked into girlfriend-boyfriend mode, suddenly the guy panics about keeping the relationship and switches into like people-pleasing and easygoingness and all those other things. And that switch is very devastating, because you've made a promise of this one guy at the start, that's the one she's actually attracted to, and then you've done the old bait and switch and delivered a different guy, a guy that she would not have been attracted to if she had met him at the beginning. It's the difference that's actually the biggest problem. You've set this and then delivered that. That disappointing drop is what's going to kill the attraction for them so badly. Had you just started and maintained nice guyness from the beginning, you would have actually had more of a chance. So don't deliver something that you're not going to be able to sustain. Don't pretend to be something you're not at the start. Don't put on a show. Or don't switch to fake after you've been real. Keep it real. Like, remember, this is what they're attracted to at the beginning. Why would you switch that out for something else and think that that's a safe move? Right? You don't want to leave them feeling disappointed and scammed and manipulated, okay? You don't want them comparing who you are with who you used to be, and who you used to be wins. All right, they should see a constant improvement from you, or at least they got what they signed up for. So start like you mean to finish. Treat dates with a girl like she's already been your partner for 10 years. Relax into it. Be who you really are to the best of your ability. Keep that honesty going, that courage going. Be willing to lose them. And even when they fall in love with you, still be willing to lose them. Don't switch just to keep them. That's not the safe approach. That's actually the dangerous one. Next one, being attracted to bad fits. A lot of nice guys, the problem's actually at the very beginning with who they feel attracted to, and that is their avoidant attachment kind of mechanism in their head actually wires them to be selecting women who it's not going to work out with. This one happened to me a lot, and I was so blind to it. I just thought a girl was hot, but actually my brain has selected a girl that I cannot get into a long-term relationship with. Attraction is not some objective physical thing. It's a very subjective psychological thing. And you have to be very suspicious about your attraction if you keep ending up with the wrong type of woman. All right. So you might have a pattern of being obsessed with women who are essentially unavailable. Right? This kind of one-itis where you get really into someone who's not available because they're already married, or they got a boyfriend, or they're traveling all the time, or they're just not interested in you, or they don't even know who you are, or they're busy, or they ghost and they flake and they play games. They're emotionally unavailable, or they show in no uncertain terms that they don't want a long-term relationship. They don't want whatever it is you want. If you find that attractive, that's a warning sign that there's something not right with you psychologically. So you have the secret fear of commitment and intimacy, and that makes you attracted to people where that can't happen. So it feels like you're pursuing it when actually you're preventing it, which is the kind of manipulation the brain pulls on us. The problem with this, of course, is you're just going to remain single forever whilst feeling like you're actually pursuing a relationship, feeling like you're loyal to women and so on. You've got to get ruthless. Cut off any woman who is not available. Okay, any woman who's not as interested in you as you are as her, wants the same things romantically, is going to be around, has the emotional stability and security to actually manage a relationship, treats you well, puts in the same amount of effort as you. If you don't see those signs, walk away no matter how hot she is. Another one is showing a lack of spine, not necessarily with her, but around her. This is one of those subtle ones that you won't realize undermines you. If you don't stand up against your own mother, for example, or if the waiter brings the wrong food to your table and you don't send it back, this sends warning signals to her that you can't stand up for yourself. Even if you argue with her, but other people you fold, if nothing else, she's going to feel like that's monstrously unfair. She's going to feel like you treat strangers better than you treat her. She's going to feel that way because it's true. But particularly, like, if your mother says something mean to her and you just let it happen, you're going to lose some serious points. Okay, now you feel like you're just keeping the peace, you don't have to fight every battle, blah, 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 easygoingness. Really, you just have a fear of conflict, and you don't realize that her witnessing this makes her feel unsafe and feel like she can't trust you and lose respect for you. All of this kills attraction and love. So you need to work on assertiveness in general for your own confidence anyway. And she should not see a difference between how you stand up to her and how you stand up to others. She should see you always fight for what's right, so that she can trust that when it's needed to protect your offspring and so on, that you will step up, that she won't have to protect you from the world. Another one you might notice is that you suddenly lose interest in a woman when she starts showing interest in you. Like, you might be panting after a woman, really interested in her, and then when she shows that she's actually available and ready for commitment, suddenly you're noticing all these faults. Suddenly you're not texting back and you're lazy, you're not putting in the effort, you're chasing other interests. This is a warning sign that you have an avoidant attachment style. It's the commitment that puts you off, the idea that you can actually get really hurt feelings now because it could get real. And you'd much rather chase where it feels almost real, have a pseudo relationship. And of course, if you're only going to feel interested in women who aren't available and aren't interested in you as much, you're only going to have disastrous relationships. So don't trust the random ups and downs of attraction. It will fade and come back and so on. Just always reassess, like, is this person healthy enough as a partner and treats me well enough that I'd want to spend one more day with them? And if the answer is yes, then do it, no matter how much attraction you're feeling today. Don't trust those random ups and downs, okay? They're more psychological than real. Another big one, self-sacrifice. Putting their needs ahead of yours as like a principle. Prioritizing their preferences, completely destroying your own, gradually giving away your own life piece by piece until their life encompasses both of you. A lot of guys feel like this is necessary. It's part of the happy wife, happy life mentality. You know, that you're a good person, you're a martyr, you're noble for giving up. You think it's the guy who lies down in a puddle so the woman can stand on him and not get her shoes wet. You think that's a good guy. You think that guy's going to do well in relationships. I promise you he is not. She's going to stand on him to go to another guy. There's a loss of respect. It's boring. There's resentment that builds up on both sides. She doesn't actually want you to do this, but she can't say no to it. Then she begins to feel like she's owed it. And then she's going to react badly when you push back at all and want something because you've set this precedent. And then you're just not interesting because you don't exist. All those things she liked you for at the start, they've all disappeared. You know, those hobbies you had, those interests, that time you had to yourself, that was all helpful to build her attraction, and now it's all gone. So you've got to have some hard lines. You've got to have some hobbies. All right, you've got to spend time with your friends. You've got to be dedicated to your work project. Finish writing your book. Sometimes she's going to have to wait in line for her turn with you. Sometimes you just want to be alone, and she's just going to have to handle that. You've got to remember, she survived just fine without you before this began. She doesn't need you to give up anything for her. Now, that doesn't mean that you become this a-hole who doesn't have any consideration for her whatsoever, obviously. But don't give up the things that make you who you are. Don't compromise on those things. You will regret it. You will lose her. Next one, whining and complaining, and confusing this for sharing. So this is where you start to treat her like she's your therapist. You dump all your problems on her. You have a very irresponsible approach to your issues. Like, why is this happening to me? That victim mindset. Now, sharing your deep, dark, negative things is not the same as whining and complaining. Right, for you to say, look, I sometimes suffer from depression, and when that happens, I need to do this, this, and this, and you just need to be patient with me. That's not whining and complaining. Going, oh, the world's unfair and life's too hard for me, and I deserve better. That's complaining. All right. Now, there are some women who are really attracted to that. They are very damaged women. So you're guaranteeing yourself awful relationships and or getting dumped by a healthy woman. So this is a misunderstanding of what it means to open up. And it comes from being from a place where you're probably starved for pity. You think that pity is love. You've been taught that the only way to get loving attention from people is to be in pain. So they go, oh, what's wrong? You're like a little boy pretending that a scraped knee hurts more than it does just so mummy gives him a hug. Very repulsive, very draining. Putting her in that mother role again. Just, I know this is old school to say this, but it's just unmanly. All right? That masculine drive is like, yep, I will be honest that there are problems and there are things I struggle with, but I'm seeking to either solve them or accept them. I don't need your pity. I got this. Right? Now, that doesn't mean you can't accept support. That doesn't mean that you can't cry. None of that is a problem. It's when you go, wah, about something you could fix. That's a problem. All right? So go try to fix it. Then, if you're struggling to fix it, you share the struggle, but you don't go, oh, do it for me, because it's hard, right? That is incredibly unattractive. So share responsibly and balanced. Make sure if you are sharing each other's problems, it's each other's. She's not your therapist. She's not your mum, right? At some point you go, you know what? I've been whinging too much. It's your turn. What's going on in your life? Vent. And you show that, like, hey, you're not my therapist. I'm not going to treat you as one. Okay, that got away from me a bit there. I don't mean pretend that you don't have issues and that you don't struggle. I mean own it. All right. Make sure you finish your complaint with what you're going to do about it. Not like, fix it for me, please. All right. Another one, and I've noticed this, I don't think I did this one myself, maybe I did, but there's some guys who seem to be unwittingly making themselves physically repulsive. It's like they're not trying at all to be attractive physically. So these are like objectively unattractive things like neglecting your hygiene, getting way too drunk, being immature, talking about your ex at length, debating about politics in this really serious way when she's not even that interested. It's these things that are just like really obnoxious and unpleasant to be around. And sometimes they're not even your natural behaviors. You might actually take better care of yourself when no one's around. I remember this one guy I was coaching, and he was just going on and on about how women just don't seem to call him back. And I just couldn't get over how flaky his face was. And I felt bad for him because I have it too. Like, I get really dry skin, so I use moisturizer. Or otherwise it's like snowing all the time. And I remember looking at him thinking, like, do you not have a mirror? Like, that's such an easy win to deal with flaky skin. Are you going to make her try to tolerate flaky skin? There's other guys where they just reek. It feels like they wear their old gym clothes all the time. You can tell them, like, from 10 feet away, like, oh, dude. It's like, really? Like, you want her to tolerate a horrible smell? You can't shower? You can't use a bit of spray? It's not a lack of integrity to just take care of the basics and to not be, like, massively unpleasant to be around. Now, some guys are genuinely unaware. I work with a lot of guys who are on the neurodivergent spectrum. I'm on that spectrum myself. And sometimes they just don't kind of get it that you going on about why Trump's a bad president for 30 minutes is not something that she wants to hear about on a date. Or you going step by step why your ex didn't like you is not the only topic available for discussion, right? You might not realize that you put people off with the way that you are. And this is where you really need to kind of hire someone to help you out and be very open to their feedback. So it can just be a lack of awareness. It can be a lack of kind of understanding etiquette at even a basic level. But it can also be a subconscious push to drive her away, to repulse her. And it can also be expression of low self-worth. You know, guys let himself go physically. Sometimes that represents how he's let himself go mentally. He's treating his body the way he feels it deserves and so on. You don't need to have a six-pack. You don't need to be really glossy. You don't need to be perfectly articulate in your conversation. None of that's needed. But being gross is unnecessary for integrity, okay? So you got to ask yourself, am I putting in the effort where I would recommend me to others? You know, when I look at what it's like to be around me, what do I sort of look like? What do I smell like? How do I talk? Is that like I'd recommend someone's sister goes with a man like me, like I would be a good choice? If the answer to that is no, then ask yourself, like, without compromising my integrity, what kind of minor improvements can I make here? What can I make it so it's just not disgusting to be around me? Next problem, covert contracts or keeping score. This is where you expect rewards for being a good guy. You don't ask for those rewards directly, you just think you're entitled to them because the world should be fair. This belief in fairness, it doesn't seem to require a discussion. You think everybody agrees on it already, and that if somebody is not giving you the rewards you deserve, that they're a bad person withholding things and you should sulk and stonewall them and let them know that they've misbehaved without being direct. I don't know why anyone thinks this is a good idea in relationships, but a lot of people do it. It's not gender specific. Women do it as well, where you just go, you should have just known. That is an awful, stupid idea to bring into relationships. If you stick with it, expect to have nothing but bad relationships or staying single. If your pride won't let you realize that everyone has different preferences and everyone has different boundaries and not everyone thinks like you, then there's no helping you. It builds resentment. It's very manipulative. Sulking is just gross. you're basically asking to be dumped. So, implement a rule. If you didn't ask for it directly, it did not happen. You're not allowed to expect anything that you did not make a direct request for. You can't be transactional either. Just because you did a good deed doesn't mean they owe you something. Do good deeds for the sake of being good. If they never reciprocate, move on and find someone else. Don't keep score. All right, this is not a sporting competition. This is love. This is connection. There isn't a scoreboard here, right? If you want them to please you, tell them how. Make it easy for them. Why would you make it hard? Why would you make them guess? How could you possibly think that that's a good idea or a better idea than just being direct? Like, make sure they're direct with you. Refuse to play the covert contract game. Refuse to guess what they want. I know it's expected culturally in some places, but just say, look, I don't do things that way. You want something from me? You ask. You don't ask, you don't get it. Period. Another really common one, retroactive jealousy. It's part of an obsessive-compulsive disorder, and this is where you become really obsessive and honed in on their previous history with other men sexually. Sometimes it's very specific, their body count, how many guys they've kissed, what kind of positions they did with their ex, and sometimes it's more of a just general jealousy of anything they've ever had with other partners, the sense of inadequacy, the sense of threat. Now, this is a very deep topic. It's actually, in my opinion, a full-blown psychological disorder. I've worked with a few guys that have it, and they're some of the most challenging coaching experiences I've ever had. It's one of the most resistant disorders I've ever worked with. Guys are very reluctant to let go of their ex's past. Because the problem is it's unsolvable. There's nothing about their past that can be changed. There's nothing there for you that's going to make you happier. There's no amount of description or detail about her exes that it's going to satisfy you. It's only going to feed that insecurity. And it makes you very difficult to be with. They now have to walk on eggshells around you. You're holding them to account for something that they can do nothing about. And you're making them feel guilty and ashamed of something that was completely fine and normal. They're allowed to have a history. You're not the fucking king of the world. They don't have to wait for you. All right? So it's very high pressure. It pushes her towards cheating, ironically. Like, if you're going to treat her like she's not faithful to you because she has a past, then you're basically saying there's no way that you can win here. There's no way that I'll see you as faithful, so you might as well do whatever you feel like. They get exhausted with reassuring you all the time. And just put yourself in their shoes. What do you feel when somebody falsely accuses you all the time? Because that's how they feel. Right? They feel like they're being accused of something that they didn't do wrong. The only way forward, in my opinion, for this is to get some serious therapy or coaching, maybe even get medication for OCD. I think this is beyond just a bit of overthinking. This is quite a serious disorder and you should get professional support. Another one I see is being too serious. Now, I don't want to put anyone off being genuine and real here. Some people are just more serious, and they can find partners who are also quite serious and they get along quite well. But a lot of seriousness, especially from nice guys, comes from anxiety. It's not really their true self, it's their fear and their stress all the time. So they never have fun, they never have a laugh. Every conversation is deep and meaningful. Everything's intense and stressful. And everything's very objective and rational. While that's probably better than being a people pleaser and keeping things light and superficial all the time, it's just kind of the opposite extreme. It's too much of something. And too much of anything usually means not being fully genuine. So nice guys can't help it. They come from a stressful background. They're quite traumatized. They struggle to enjoy life. They barely ever enjoy life. They see everything as serious. Everything's a competition. Everything's a challenge. They're always being measured and judged. They've got this compulsive attachment to accuracy and truth where they just can't let anything be a bit silly. The problem with this is, again, there's no emotional range. There's no pleasure. It's too intense. And if she meets another guy who's fun and light, it's going to feel like arriving in an oasis. That's not really a feeling you want her to have when she meets another guy. I am not in any way saying that all women will cheat on you, but I am saying a healthy, confident woman will break up with you if she realizes that other guys are better for her. Okay? This one's another of the deeper issues. If you just have always been super serious and you've always struggled to have fun, then I recommend you get some coaching. Maybe not therapy, because therapy tends to be very serious as well. But there's some deep inner work here. You haven't figured out how to enjoy life. Having fun is something that I think all humans should be capable of doing, that it's not disingenuous to have fun. So you might need to just inject some more fun into your life, do more playful activities, watch more comedy, try to take things a little lighter, try to be, I don't know, non-defensive about who you are, have a play with it, and just inject a little bit more lightheartedness, genuine lightheartedness into your life, so that again somebody can have more of a range with you. You've already got serious and deep sorted. Congratulations. You don't need to work on that one, but you may also need to enjoy the moment a little bit more. Next one, and these are in no particular order, by the way. Overinvestment, clinginess, doing more than 50% of the work, especially in the early stages. So if you're double texting, if you're paying for everything, initiating everything, organizing everything, love bombing her, the effort is seriously overweight on your side. This is either setting you up for an awful, exhausting relationship, or it's just going to put her off in the short term. It comes from a deep-seated belief that you're not valuable enough on your own, so you've got to put in this extra work. It comes from toxic shame. This idea that to keep someone, you're going to have to really overdo it to make up for all your deficiencies or your lack of attractiveness. It comes from an anxious attachment style. This idea that if I don't earn their love every second, I'll quickly lose it. It's this fragile thing. You're letting your worries dictate your actions, and ironically, this actually pushes them away, which is going to exacerbate the worry, and you're going to do it even more next time, not realizing that this is what pushed them away, that if you just relaxed and made sure that they did their half of the work, they would invest in you more, and their loyalty would grow, and you wouldn't have to work so hard at it. Because the problem is you're suffocating them. You're indicating that you're desperate. You're signaling to them that you are out of... you're signaling to them that they're out of your league, and so they might start to believe it at a subconscious level. You're setting a really bad precedent. Even if they enjoy you putting in all the extra effort, are you going to be able to sustain this for years or decades? Because if you suddenly drop the ball later, then you're going to create that disappointing drop thing where you change into a different guy. Is this really sustainable? For some of you it is, but that doesn't mean it's healthy. I mean, how weak was she if she needs you to do this? If she survived without you and she didn't need you to do all the work beforehand, then why are you disabling her now? Let her live her life. Let her put her effort in. Think of it like a tennis match, from one conversation through to the whole relationship and everything in between. A general 50-50 should be happening. Now, I don't mean you guys should be the same, but the investment and effort should be relatively equal, each in your own ways. So yes, you might pay for everything, but maybe that means she organizes everything. There should be some sort of counterbalance here where both of you have put the same amount of effort and energy and commitment into the relationship, even if it's done in different methods. Okay. If you're worried about how things are going, respond with meditation, not action. Okay. Don't let worry be a deciding factor. You're not allowed to act from a place of worry. You should make your decisions from a place of sort of rational, healthy decision making, not panic. And while you're still single, you should be pursuing multiple women. Don't behave like you're scarce. Don't throw all your eggs into one basket. I'm not saying you've got to be a player. I'm saying until both of you have decided to commit, until both of you have agreed to monogamy or whatever, then you should be behaving as if you're single. Okay, that'll help you keep that kind of precedent of how much energy you put into someone. Somebody you've just met should not be treated like a queen. All right? They should just get a basic level of respect and reciprocation from you, because they haven't earned anything special from you yet. They're not actually a special person in your life yet. They're just someone you went on a date with a couple of times. Now, if you've been married for 10 years, yes, they should be your priority in most of your decision making. Still should be a 50-50 reciprocation happening. But they should earn a special place in your life. They shouldn't start on a pedestal. Next one, a lack of effort and leadership, a kind of laziness, especially in the early stages. She has to make all the decisions, you follow her, you're slack on making things happen. You're scared to lead, basically. You're putting her in the leadership role really early. You don't want to make mistakes. You've got a fear of getting things wrong. You've got a history of being the follower, of being sort of more feminine and passive. And that's just your precedent. That's the way you do things. Forces her into the masculine role all the time. She has to lead, she has to initiate, she has to organize, she has to take the risks. And unless she prefers that dynamic, you're going to have problems. Anybody can be masculine and feminine. The guy can be feminine and the girl can be masculine. That's fine. I've seen that work out perfectly, so long as it's genuine. But if you force a feminine woman to become masculine, she's going to resent you for it. And you may even damage her permanently. She may lose sight of who she really is and bring that energy into future relationships after you. And it's not even her true self, and she's just going to put guys off by being too bossy or controlling, when actually she doesn't want to be like that. She's just been trained. So you want to be calling the shots at least roughly 50% of the time, if not more. Right? You don't have to do everything, but put some effort in. Take some risks. Be the man in the relationship if that's what you want. And if you don't want that, if you want to be the queen, then be the queen, but go look for a king. Right? Don't try to make another queen your king. Does that make sense? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. All right. Next one, this applies to both men and women equally, is having these weirdly high standards, being very picky to the point where actually nobody gets through the filter. You might say that you're respecting yourself and you know your worth, but in reality, you're creating conditions that no real human being can get past, and it's actually your avoidant attachment style running the show. I've seen this happen a lot. So it's a list of conditions that effectively keep you single. It can't be a helpful list if it's preventing you from getting into a real relationship. You'll feel that it's rational and justified. You feel that you're just respecting yourself, but really it's an avoidant trick. It makes staying single seem like it's really just not a choice. Like, you would date someone if only they met these very reasonable criteria. Unfortunately, you're just not lucky enough to meet someone who meets these criteria. The craziest thing is, when I look at these lists that people have, almost nothing on the list is actually a test of character. They're not saying the person must try to be honest and be compassionate and treat me with kindness. It's usually like, they must look this way, they must have this thing, they must not want this, they must definitely want that. And a total psychopath could have all of those qualities. So the irony is that people with such lists often end up in abusive relationships, because an abuser can pretend to have all the things on the list, but a person of character and quality will fail to tick all those boxes. So if you're going to have a list, it should be based on experience of having good treatment from someone and knowing what is a good connection and what loving connection feels like, and having criteria around that. And that criteria is going to be a very simple, short list. If you make sure that they're honest and respectful and compassionate, and they take responsibility for themselves, 4 characteristics that would instantly exclude anybody abusive and allows a lot of great healthy people in. But you're going to have to let them be a human being. They're not going to be perfect. Neither are you. Don't ask for more than you can deliver yourself. And the problem is, you're just going to end up single forever, because even if you met a woman who met all your criteria, as soon as you got scared of intimacy, you'll just start making up new criteria until she fails. Right? This isn't real, this list. It is a barrier to stop people getting close. Another one is erectile dysfunction and other sexual performance issues. So this is where your body actually sabotages you. And it's almost always psychological. I do a lot of coaching work with guys who have this problem, and it's never a physical one. Never. There are guys who have a physical problem, but with nice guys, it's almost always anxiety-based. And it's where the body is actually preventing intimacy. A lot of guys who have this problem, like maybe they come too soon or they can't get it up, whatever it is that kind of spoils things sexually, they'll notice that they might not have the problem with a girl that they're not actually that into, not that attracted to. But when it's a girl that they would actually love to have a relationship with, it's like their body just comes in and ruins things. This just comes from sexual shame. It can just come from inexperience, anxiety disorders, the fear of being judged, the fear of a reputation about you being spread. Ironically, the body reacts to this fear in a way that actually makes it come true. And it comes from this deep-seated belief that sex is this huge deal in relationships, that it has to be really good or it's a deal breaker. And the funny thing is, with healthy, confident women, it really isn't. If there's a woman who's going to dump you because you can't get it up, be glad that she dumped you, okay? That is the kind of woman you do not want to end up married to. But a kind of compassionate, caring woman understands, like, hey, you can't control your body with your mind. Like, I get it. I'm just glad to be with you. Like, we can work on this. That's how a healthy woman would respond to these problems. So the fact that you're worried that she'll have this disastrous reaction just means that you think all women are like this kind of toxic type of person, which means you probably just haven't been with any really healthy ones. The problem it really causes is your shame about it. You not being able to get it up or coming too quickly, that's not actually a deal breaker. But if you react to that and respond to that very badly, it can be. Okay, so if you get really insecure and defensive about it, if you avoid going anywhere near sex because of it, if you don't want to talk about it, if you make them lead everything, that can put them off. Okay, it's not the actual issues, it's how you're responding. So there's a few ways to deal with this. One is you just have to be okay with it. Like, make sure it's not a deal breaker. If you come too quickly or you can't get it up, learn how to use your hands, mate. Keep the show on the road. Like, show that, like, this does not stop you, that you are stronger than your body. Okay, that if your body throws a setback out there, you're going to keep going anyway. Show them that you're not bothered by it, and that'll actually become true quite quickly. And you'll see that they don't need certain body parts to function perfectly to love you. Okay, they just need to see that you're willing to overcome anything that gets in the way of your relationship with her. That's very attractive. Learn techniques. Go online. omgyes.com is a great website for techniques. Learn how to use your hands and everything so that you don't need your body to function a certain way, that you can overcome it. And just don't give up. Don't get defensive. Keep going. Own it. Just say, yep, this happens to me. It's a sign of nervousness. It's actually a compliment to you. It only happens with women that I actually care about. But we'll get through this. Let's try something else. That approach means you never actually even need to solve it. And the last one I'll put in here, there's many more, but this is the last one I'll put in here, is misogyny. So this is where you get the kind of manosphere, red pill worldview of women, which is this idea that all women are the same. That is the basis. That's what defines red pill more than anything else, is this underlying belief that all women are the same. And it comes from this built-in resentment from bad experiences and from the kind of shit you get blasted into your brain through your algorithms, and kind of yearning for an explanation for your lack of success with women and finding in one that blames them instead of you having to take responsibility for your own faults. And it is a hideously unattractive worldview. One of the main reasons red pillers struggles with women is because they're red pillers. Okay, that the only kind of women that respond positively to this kind of worldview are very damaged women. You don't need to be a feminist. I'm not. All right. I believe in traditional roles, for example. I like being the man in a relationship. I like that my wife is the woman in the relationship. I like that masculine-feminine dynamic. I don't think we should be equal. I think that's gross. But I love women. And I think one of my saving graces, the thing that got me through all my hard times and all these nightmares I've been through, I've had the erectile dysfunction, I've had all these self-sabotage, half the things on this list I've had to get through. I had a horrible time in my 20s when it came to women, my early 20s especially. And the amount of fucking work I had to put into solving that was immense. So many hours, so many failures, thousands of rejections, so many nights just lying there just exhausted, go, fuck, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. I went through all that, but not once did I blame women. I always knew deep down, hey, this has got to be a me problem. Other guys are figuring this out. Guys that, frankly, I don't think are better than me. I'm doing this somehow. I need to overcome this. Even if you've had a string of relationships with objectively nasty women who abused you, well, that means you're attracted to nasty women. That means you allowed relationships like that to grow beyond the first date. It means that you tolerated bad treatment and let it keep happening. It means that you refuse to acknowledge red flags. And it might be because you think, hey, this is the best I can do. All women are the same. But look where it's gotten you, right? This approach doesn't work. If you want to do well with women, if you want to have great relationships, you have to like them. You have to. If you don't like them deep down, if you think that they're the cause of your problems, if you blame them, if you think they're all the same and that they're psychologically incapable of kindness or whatever it is you believe, then you're never going to create a healthy relationship. Okay, you have to understand that all of your problems with women are your problems. Could even include your attraction. You might be being misled from the very beginning by your own brain. But I promise you, there are healthy women out there who will treat you exceptionally well, so long as you deserve it. Okay, so long as you are a confident, reasonably confident, healthy man yourself. You can't expect respect if you don't give it. You can't expect love if you don't feel it for them. this has to go both ways. So start with the assumption that there are great women out there and that you've been behaving in a way that prevents them from being attracted to you, prevents you from finding them, talking to them. There's something you're doing that means you're only left with the dregs, like only the worst women want to be around you and are attracted to you. If you can take responsibility for that and assume that there is some way out, then you'll open your eyes to possibilities and you'll start to behave differently and you'll get different results. So I hope this was helpful. Like I said, it was kind of a light touch on a lot of different topics. I could do whole podcasts on any one of these, and maybe I will. But if you realize that you're the one getting in your own way, if you can at least make sure you're not doing anything on this list and that you're not sabotaging things, at least then you'll get a pretty accurate read on how well things are going for you with women, and you can stop saying like it's them or it's bad luck. Like, don't blame this on luck until you're sure you're not doing anything on this list. If you want my help, if you want to stop doing the stuff on this list and replace it with genuine, confident behaviors, get in touch, dan@brojo.org. We can get on a call and have a little analysis and see what's going on for you. Even if we just do this one free call, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to help you make some serious gains. Okay? Thank you so much for listening or watching. I'll see you all next time.